welcome back to the F1 Journal and to the RussianGP review, where Valtteri Bottas claimed his second win of the season after Lewis Hamilton suffered two 5-second penalties in his first bid to equal Michael Schumacher's win record. Verstappen eventually came second, ahead of Hamilton. Valtteri Bottas profited from a 10-second penalty from teammate and championship leader Lewis Hamilton to end his wait for the second win of the season in the 2020 Russian Grand Prix. Hamilton, the pole sitter, went into the race under investigation for making two practice starts from the wrong place in the pit lane on his reconnaissance laps to the grid around 35 minutes before the start. The World Championship leader was handed two 5-second penalties from the stewards on lap 8 when he served the pit lane before his lap 17 stop. He also had two further penalty points added to his licence, although they were later rescinded. The delay dropped the Englishman, who could have equalised Michael Schumacher's F1 win record to 11th, although he still salvaged a podium with third place. What happened? Asked Hamilton. Where is that in the rule book? In his post-race interview, he claimed, "They're trying to stop me, aren't they?" In relation to the stewards, Max Verstappen dropped behind Bottas at the start from the front row and thereafter could not challenge Mercedes in his Red Bull and finished second, although took solace from beating Lewis Hamilton. Sergio Perez finished season best fourth in the Racing Point, overtaking Daniel Ricciardo in the first stint with a fine move round the outside of turn 4. Ricciardo was fifth on the road and stayed there despite having 5 seconds added to his race time for not correctly observing track limit re-entry rules at turn 2 when he overtook teammate Esteban Ocon. Ocon moved up to fourth on the first lap but struggled for pace and was beaten to 6th by Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari. Safety car was called on the opening lap for two incidents. The first when Carlos Sainz misjudged his entry to the track around the blocks at turn 3 and slammed his left front tyre into the wall, and the other when Lance Stroll was spun around at turn 4 by Charles Leclerc. Leclerc escaped penalty for the incident and thereafter raced very strongly to 6th, splitting the faster Renaults on an afternoon that Ferrari teammate Sebastian Vettel once again struggled and finished 13th. Really been an eventful weekend in Sochi for Lewis Hamilton, who was nearly knocked out in Q2 in qualifying and then faced stewards for a track limits transgression at turn 2 on Sunday evening. Hamilton was also on the less favourable starting tyre compound to Valtteri Bottas and Max Verstappen, who were able to start on more durable mediums. But what happened before the race had even started on Sunday was ultimately undoing of the 6-time world champion victory hopes. As usual, the race director's notes to teams dictated whether drivers were allowed to make their practice starts in the pit lane before heading to the grid. But whereas the designated one for such starts in Sochi was on the right of the pit lane and the exits, Hamilton and Mercedes contravened, and this making the start further down the line. Article 36.1 requires drivers to use a constant throttle and constant speed in the pit lane other than in the place designated for practice starts, said the stewards, who issued Hamilton with two different sanctions. Hamilton and his race engineer Bonington had discussed where he could do this on the radio. Hamilton, it's all rubber here, can I go further out? A firm, to the edge of the pit wall? Yeah, copy, leave enough room for the cars to pass, is what Bono said. While the stewards reviewed video evidence as they got the race successfully underway, Hamilton successfully fended off a challenge from Valtteri Bottas. But however, after the safety car, when Hamilton pitted, he served his penalty and was ultimately behind Valtteri Bottas and Max Verstappen, but fought back to a podium finish. Before I go, here was the final race classification. Valtteri Bottas, a big win for him and pretty dominant as well. You can't fault him this weekend. An outstanding performance. Max Verstappen will be happy to beat Lewis Hamilton and what like it could be a bit of a shoddy weekend. Lewis Hamilton will obviously be disappointed, but still very much in control of the championship. Sergio Perez will be very happy. Ricciardo will as well. As for Leclerc, driver of the day for me, even with that Stroll collision. Ocon will be pretty happy, I'm sure, as well, but maybe a bit disappointed, having been in third earlier in the race. Kvyat and Gasly, I think they'll be pretty happy. Albon just didn't have the pace today, to be honest. Giovinazzi and Magnussen, so unlucky. Vettel, once again, disappointing. Raikkonen and Norris, I think they'll be disappointed as to where their teammates came. And then Latifi and Russell, they had a little scrap. Grosjean, just no pace for him, really. Anyway guys, that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Remember to follow me on Twitter, link in the description below for daily F1 news, and subscribe to my other channels on the screen right now. That'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace.